Hey you guys. I know I haven't been on YouTube in a while. Um, but today I think is the day for me to make this video. Um, because of the things that I seen yesterday that maybe yesterday and I think about 3 days ago that may be the end of the revelation of the baby Amelia dream, the fast growing baby dream. Holly mentioned that if you had been following the videos, Holly mentioned that she also had a baby. She also had a dream about a baby named Amelia, and it was very similar to the dream that I had. And we both looked up the names. I had no idea. I would never in a million years name my baby Amelia, but we discovered and I discovered after having a dream, looking up the name, that the baby's name meant industrious, which automatically made me think of like test tube baby, um, genetic modification, and also, if you remember, I discussed that it had a root of it had a connection to the name Sophia, which Sophia is the goddess of wisdom. Okay, and I've done many videos on Sophia and this goddess of wisdom and all of that stuff. Okay, so yesterday I went to a friend's house. My TV went out, you guys. Before I start that, you guys, baby is fine. She's great. Hopefully, I'll just upload a video. Sherry asked me to share some pictures. I gave it to her. Thought that maybe she would get time to share an update because I hadn't had a chance to make an update. I'm working and went back to work. I work from home also, you guys, and I'm pumping every 2 to 3 hours. And my 16-year-old son works, so I'm on I'm just besides myself tired, but it's time for me to make this video. And I hadn't been waiting to wait this long, but I've seen some connections between my baby and this baby Amelia. As far as Myra and her growth, she's ahead of time. She's a week and a half to 2 weeks ahead of her expected release, and she's been had no health concerns except for, of course, her lungs were underdeveloped at, of course, when she was born, and she was little. So not every baby that's in NICU, and she's been actually, she went from NICU to special care to downstairs to general population. She's about to be out the door, so she's doing well. She's growing, and she is something else. She's feisty. Okay. But I've seen some similarities in the dream as it relates to her. But I think the Lord wanted me to put it out as a warning against genetic testing, all these DNA kits. I've talked about a little bit of that. Maybe, yeah, I have. And allowing people to do genetic testing on you, prenatal genetic testing. All that is a warning, and I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. The dream was, and if this video gets long, just bear with me. I'm going to keep it concise. I have everything written down. I have been making notes on this particular dream and the revelations forever. You can't see it, but it's in here. And I think yesterday was the last thing. I went to a friend's house, and his stepdaughter was in a walker. At the end of the dream, the baby that I had that was named Amelia was in a walker, but it was enclosed, kind of like some type of industrious lab looking thing. Her legs, drum looking thing, cylinder looking thing. You couldn't see her legs. And in the dream, and she was up and walking. I mean, in the dream, she went from a newborn to walking all in the same dream. So fast growing super baby Amelia. So I went to a friend's house yesterday, and long story short, his stepdaughter was in a walker, and she's only 5 months old, but apparently she's been in that walker navigating. I saw her walk frontwards, backwards, go around furniture without bumping into it. So she knows how to operate and navigate this furniture. And I just was amazed. The baby was only 5 months, and she had apparently been doing this for since she was 4 months. And being that it's been 16 years since I had a baby, I think babies are crawling at what, 6 months or something like that, you guys. Maybe pulling up on things at 7, 8. I don't know. If you know, let me know. Okay, it's been 16 years. I'm about to find out with a newborn. So that, and also there was a story that came out 3 days ago or 4 days ago about an incident where I think a couple had in vitro fertilization, and the daughter got one of these genetic kits for her parents for a Christmas gift or something or whatever, and they found out that the baby that her father, who she thought was her father, was not her father. And then the news reported that actually one of the hospital workers, one of the doctors that worked in this lab or hospital, which happens to be called Christ Hospital, unfortunately, may be the actual father. So a worker that works in the lab that was responsible for doing her parents in vitro, to conceive her, may actually be her biological father. Sad story. So, just to recap the dream, you guys, so that you know when I'm giving you this information, you'll know how it matches up. I had a baby. She was a newborn. My milk came in like immediately after having the baby, which you know it takes about 2 days for real milk to come in, true milk. The baby was eating on potato. I think it was sweet potatoes or something that I was feeding it in the dream, or I put a little bit on the baby's mouth. I told my boyfriend that I didn't name the baby Amira, but I named her Amelia. He took the baby I thought in the dream, to show his friends, but he left the baby in the car, and the baby was sitting upright and sweating. Had to been from like newborn to 6 months. And then I turned my back, and she was in this little garage, while her supposed dad in the dream, his name was John, was working outside on some cars or something like that. And I went inside the little shop where he had laid the baby down, and she had been up walking and in this little walker thing. So, like I said, me seeing my friend's stepdaughter yesterday walking, of course, again, reminded me of the dream and the story and the way that the Lord, I felt, was leading me to talk about genetic testing. The thumbnail that I'm going to use is a thumbnail. I had a friend get married in May, which would have been a month before I had the baby. She found this in the house that she was staying in, and I just kept it because I knew that there was something to it. Okay, so you guys, like I said, I had the dream in January. The name means industrious, and also there's a connection to her name. The derivative of her name links back to the Sophia, goddess of wisdom. And I also had mentioned the same day that I put the dream out that a lady had she had her last daughter, and in the hospital she felt like they put a chip in her, and so on and so forth. And you guys know I had a bad experience in the hospital. Do I think they put a chip in me? I don't think so, but I'm just saying that story came out the same day that I put the video out, and I'm sure I mentioned it in one of the follow-up videos. Also, I had a dream, and it's on my channel. I heard in a dream, identical embryo ability. And I talked about that, and I talked about looking it up, when I woke up from the dream, and it led me to the website where they were discussing cloning of pigs, Dolly, and also discussing but yet denying human cloning. Okay, that was the NHS, that organization. Then Dabu did a video talking about genetically modified salmon. I think I mentioned that in the update video of what I heard, the audible in my dream, identical embryo ability. And also, I know Dabu did a video on DNA data bank concerns in New York. I think he was talking about how the FBI was going to start collecting data for pre-crimes, or using people's DNA to match up to find their relatives or something like that, you guys. Um, so, you guys, I had the baby Amelia dream, and I heard embryo, let me not, identical embryo ability. I had both those dreams before my first appointment at the high risk doctor. And my regular OBGYN had already told me, because I'm of a certain age, that I would have to go to a high risk doctor. She gave me this pamphlet with all this information on genetic testing, and that I would have had done within my first and my second appointment, either one. And I hadn't yet gone to that doctor yet. So I was reading the information and looking it up online. And because when you say genetic testing, and me having those two dreams, I just knew, I felt like the Lord was warning me against it. And I didn't know why. So she gave me this pamphlet and booklet of stuff, for just regular prenatal stuff. And I lose the paper or something, or can't find the paper that she gives me on what it's called CVS genetic testing. And this is what she's assuming that they're going to do to me when I go to the high risk doctor. Can't find the paper for nothing, so I have to Google it. So I'm looking at information, and this is a type of invasive genetic testing where they either go in through your stomach or in your thing, and they suction off or scrape off a little piece of the outside of your placenta, and that would tell them whether or not they do the testing, and that would tell you whether or not that allows them to run the tests, run the labs, and let you know if you're at risk, your baby's at risk for chromosomal what's the word? I want to say this, don't want to say disorder, but chromosomal, for the lack of a better word, disorders like Down syndrome and other stuff like that. Okay, so I'm freaking out. I can't find the pamphlet. I don't want to have this done. I've yet to get there to the doctor. They do it at 13 weeks. I'm kind of anxious because it does tell you the sex of the baby, and then I'm kind of nervous because I don't want to have that type of invasive procedure done, because there is a risk of miscarriage. So they had that, and they had amniocentesis, which is not done till I think you were like 16 or 19 weeks. Both are invasive, and I'm freaking out about it. Okay, so I research, and just dreading. I mean, I'm researching up until the night that I go to the hospital, and I'm dreading having to get it done because I'm thinking that the doctor's going to suggest that I get it done. And this actually would have taken place on my second visit there. So the night before I go to the doctor, I see an article on explaining the CVS testing, and somewhere in it it mentions, along with this particular procedure, the growing of cells. So I'm like, they want to take my cells when they're supposed to be just testing it and running labs and making sure that I don't have any chromosomal defects. but they're going to grow the cells. So this made me think that this is a warning from the Lord, because who knows what they're doing with those cells and what they're gonna grow it into. Okay, so I said, okay. I made up my mind that night when I found that particular article. I'm going there, tell the lady I'm not going to have it done. Going there, and she tells me I have to get this genetic testing done, but I have options. I can do the CVS testing, or I can just do the blood work. I opt for just getting my blood drawn, and in the lab, they separate, I guess, the blood from the lymph. I don't know what they do. They separate it somehow, she told me, and they can read, and they can also give it the sex of the baby, so on and so forth. And I wouldn't have to do the CVS testing. I was so relieved, and even she didn't recommend the CVS testing because of the risk. So it could have went left. I could have lost the baby had I done it, and I would have been concerned about from reading this particular article that I found. I mean, just the night before. I've been researching it for weeks, you guys. So, um, I was able to find out that it was a girl, and of course, it started making me think about all the possibilities that could have happened. Can they inject something while they're saying that they're going in there just to scrape off from the placenta? Could they have injected something into my placenta? Of course, nobody knows. Nobody knows. They could have. I wouldn't go as far as saying a chip, but they could have injected anything. So anyway, you guys, I think that's it. There was one more thing. I watched a movie about kids in a camp that had special powers. They were killing off the kids because they had special powers. All the kids that were born in the world had special powers, and they were just killing them off. It just made me think about the assignment that I felt like I had on my life and my baby's life with the horrible experience that I had in the hospital. And I'm still going through things with my baby being at the NICU. I'm there 6 days a week. At 6 to 7 days a week, I go every day, and I try to take a day off for rest. But until she comes home, I just want to be there and make sure she's getting the right care. Um, just makes me think that the Lord does not want anybody doing these DNA kits. They're already privacy concerns. You don't know what they're doing with your DNA. They're putting them all in a large database. The video that I mentioned that Dabu put out was where'd they get this DNA to be able to try to match people, criminals, with their family to be able to find them, and so on and so forth. How? If they don't have our DNA? You see them I saw them marketed a lot on TV. 23andMe, all these different DNA kits. Get your family DNA kits. Find out your roots. Find out that you're this. Find out you're that. And I know a lot of people want to know, maybe look and find out so they can know, especially if they're adopted, um, uh, what they may have as far as diseases in their family history. And they're promoting it as this, and people are falling for it and just sending in your DNA. And there's just concerns about privacy and what they're doing with your DNA. And I think they just caught not just, but I say almost 6 months to a year ago, they caught a famous criminal rapist and killer in California because they use a DNA database to hunt him out. And they've said it so nonchalantly. I knew this is before I even had the dream, I'm sure. If not before I had the dream, it had to have been right after. So the Lord, I feel, wants us to be very careful about these DNA testing kits. And also for pregnant women, be very careful in what you do as far as these optional genetic testings. Some people want to know if they have a handicapped baby that may be coming. I think some of these tests also can test for spina bifida to be able to prepare for special needs kids. And some people say, I don't care, I trust God. Um, I knew for sure that when I walked in the office that I wasn't going to be having the invasive test, and I was going to tell her no, but I didn't know there was a different option. And being that I was of age, and being that they made it sound so necessary in order for me to continue my care with them. It's like, we have to do this before we do this, and we have to do this before they do that. I didn't really care. I trusted God, okay? I trusted God that I would have a healthy baby. He gave me dreams about the baby, and he gave me dreams that she would be a girl, all in between in this. But I think this dream was specifically to warn us, because they're even genetically modifying our food. What are they doing with the DNA of human and animals? And the three dreams that I had in sequence, I think it all ties in together, um, and as a warning to parents, mothers during prenatal visits, genetic testing, CVS or amniocentesis testing, about the possibility of them tampering with your fetus, your unborn fetus. I don't know. I don't think the Lord gave it to me for nothing. And also sending in your DNAs for these kits. And also, I think maybe for those who want in vitro fertilization, there are mix-ups going on. They're telling you that this is your child, this is from your sperm, and come to find out the girl may have been biologically conceived by the sperm of someone that worked there in the hospital, and you don't pay $30,000 or $40,000 for to have this process done, and believing that this child that's born as a result of it has your genetic DNA makeup. It's sad, you guys, and it's the last days, so I don't put anything past anybody. I think that's it, you guys. I just wanted to tell you, all the bad reports, all the screenings, the testings, the labs that they done on my daughter, they all come back as a good report. But I think that part of this, and she's growing faster. She's ahead, about a week and a half to 2 weeks ahead of schedule. So that's all good. But I think the Lord would have had me see what could have went left, and what they probably are doing, to genetically modify some of these kids. Got genetically modified food, got genetically modified animals, surely genetically modified human beings is a possibility. Um, and I think that was one of the warnings that the Lord wanted me to share. Didn't want this video to be too long, you guys. I got to come back and make another video. I will talk with you later, okay? God bless y'all. Miss y'all.